Good morning. My name is Abigail Tambor, and it is my honor to welcome all of you to the ordination ceremony of the first graduating class of Yeshivat Maharat. I stand here today as a representative of the board of Yeshivat Maharat and as co-chair of the graduation planning committee. But more than anything else, I stand here today as a modern Orthodox Jewish woman who is beyond thrilled that this day has finally come. Both the professional and lay leadership of Yeshivat Maharat feel that this moment has been a long time in coming, but also feel it is a moment whose time has come. It is our goal to change the face of Orthodox Jewish leadership to better reflect the population it serves by providing pastoral and spiritual guides, halachic authorities, and religious role models that have been rigorously trained within the halachic tradition to the level of excellence, and who also happen to be women. We could not be more proud of our three graduates, Ruth Belinsky-Friedman, Rachel Cole-Feingold, and Abby Brown-Shire, and more confident that they are prepared to take on pastoral and religious clerical positions in modern Orthodox communities. It is gratifying both to them and us to have all of you here in such numbers to affirm our mission, and we thank you all for coming. To begin our program in earnest, I now invite Rabbi Jeffrey Fox, Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Maharat, to the podium.
On May 29th, 1913, almost exactly 100 years ago today, The Rite of Spring, an opera by Igor Stravinsky, premiered at the newly built Champs-Élysées in Paris. The music that Stravinsky wrote was so new, and the choreography by Nijinsky so different that people did not understand what they were experiencing. They were expecting the graceful moves of Swan Lake. Instead, they encountered powerful, harsh, and draining music and dance. In the middle of the performance, a fistfight erupted. People were booing, and several were escorted out of the theater from an opera. Stravinsky's music and Nijinsky's choreography were watershed moments in the history of ballet. At the time, people were literally brought to blows with one another because they did not like or understand what they saw. It is only with the benefit of history that we are able to look back and appreciate the brilliance of this opera and thank them for introducing to the world a new way of thinking about dance, movement, and music. Az Yashir Yisrael Atashira Hazot, and Israel sang this song we read yesterday in Shul. Today is a day of song and joy. It is not often that we are blessed to appreciate that we are witnessing history. 100 years ago, who could have imagined that we would be standing here today celebrating the ordination as clergy of three Orthodox women by an Orthodox institution? It is only with the wisdom of history that we're able to look back and appreciate the brilliance of those whose shoulders we stand upon. Today, we are all a part of history. The time has come. What was it that the Jewish people were singing about in yesterday's Parsha? Az Yashir Yisrael Tashira Hazot Ali Ve'er Enula. Rise up, O well, answer to her. Difficult biblical poetry. Chazal assumed that this was referring to Miriam's well and were bothered by the timing of this song. They asked, quoted by Rashi, Hashira hazot ne'emra besof mem shana. This Shirah is said at the very end of 40 years, but Miriam's well was with them for 40 years. Why wait until now? Ma ra'a likatev kan. The Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh, Rav Chaim ben Attar, added depth to the question before he offered his answer. Vadai hi zot shirat haTorah shenikret be'er mayim. This song was the song of Torah, which is called a well of water. Al shem hamekor shehi shchina elyona shenikraat be'er. Because of the essence, which is the Shekhinah, which is called a well. If this is indeed a song about the giving and receiving of Torah, then the question of timing is made even stronger. The Ohr HaChaim, with the elaboration of the Netivot Shalom, go on to explain that Torah, both written and oral, Torah shebichtav and Torah sheba'al peh, is not acquired or understood quickly. It takes years for people to learn to appreciate the depths of our holy Torah, to dig into the well and bring out its water and its beauty. Ali ve'er, rise up, O well. Rise up and let your voices be heard. Ruth, Abby, and Rachel. Rise up and let your Torah be heard. In order to receive the beauty of Torah, we need teachers and mentors. The Shirat HaBe'er continues, Be'er chafaru hasarim, karuha nedivei ha'am, a well that was dug by ministers that nobles delved into. The Targumim explain that these wells were dug by our forefathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And we might add Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. From the perspective of the Ohr HaChaim, these are our teachers, our Rebbeim, and our mentors who have delved into the depths of the Torah and prepared us and taught us, going back millennium. I'd like to take a moment to thank some of my teachers. Rabbi Daniel Sperber, thank you for guiding me. Thank you for guiding me and all of us these past 3 years. We are all in awe of the depth and breadth of your Torah knowledge. But what impresses me even more is your menschlichkeit and deep, abiding caring for every human being. Thank you for being a part of this journey, and thank you for digging the wells of Torah in such a beautiful fashion. Rabbi Avi Weiss is all of our teacher. Your vision continues to inspire us. You are a leader who knows what it means to not only develop students and followers, but to train leaders. The depth of your Torah and the wells that you have dug for all of us goes beyond anything that any of us can say. I feel blessed to have been given the gift of learning at your feet from your Torah for over a decade, and I'm honored to have you as a mentor. From the depths of my heart, may Omek Libi, thank you. Rabbi Sarah Hurwitz. You are a force of nature. Working together these past 3 years has been inspiring. You have the unique ability to be in the moment for people, even when there are dozens of others claiming your time. You are a role model for all of our students and for me personally, for what it means to be present, really present, for individuals and the community. You and Josh, the greatest Rebbitzin of all time, along with Yonah, Zachariah, and Davidi, have given so much to the Bayit and to the Yeshiva. May you be blessed with the clarity of vision to keep digging the wells of the Torah and of the community on behalf of Yeshivat Maharat. Thank you as well to Dr. Esther Altman for leading our pastoral Torah department with such wisdom. And to Aaron Lieb Smokler for making sure that we keep our spiritual values in order. I wanted to take just a moment to recognize a few Jewish communal leaders who have joined us and honor us with their presence. First, Mori V'Rabbi Harav Dov Linzer, Rosh HaYeshiva and Dean of Yeshivat Chovevei Torah. Rabbi Dr. David Ellison, President of Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion. And Rabbi Sally Prezand, who joins us as well today. At the core of Yeshivat Maharat are our students. And today we gather to give honor to the first three graduates. Ruth Belinsky-Friedman, you have sat in the same makom in the Beit Midrash for 6 years. I always had a private competition if I could make it into yeshiva before you. There were a few times that I arrived first, but only a few. Your consistency and commitment to regular Torah learning, v'hagita bo yomam v'layla, may only be matched by Cal Ripken Jr. Yoni will explain later. I even have that scripted for you. Your hard work is apparent to all who know you, and your openness to learn from every person you meet is inspiring. You always remind me to think about the people who are not front and center in the Orthodox communal life. Through your work in social justice, you have taught many that same lesson. You and Yoni are off to D.C. to work with an inspiring friend and Rabbi Shmuel Herzfeld. Ohev Shalom is fortunate to be receiving a woman as a clergy member who understands that there are so many different wells of Torah and that each of us must find the one that speaks to us. Ali Ve'er, Ruth, rise up and let your Torah be heard. Abby Brown Shire. In addition to being married to my closest friend, you are also a close Talmidah. Seeing your now 4 beautiful girls, Avia, Ayelet, Anael, and Allegra, the A-team, pop up on the screen during Shir always gave us a breath of fresh air. Your presence was always felt, and you constantly reminded me to read the text a little bit more carefully. Having the opportunity to be in Montreal at the Shar for the Amim Noraim was, and I hope continues to be, inspiring. You have a unique ability to juggle your learning, your teaching, your parenting, and your hosting. Though I did not share with you this with you before, after Yontif, several of your students from the community, members of the Shar, approached me over the course of those several days that we were in Montreal to share stories about your Torah and your caring for the Montreal community. Your impact has already been felt, and as you continue on to another phase of communal teaching, you will have the opportunity to share the depths of the wells of our Torah with many, many more students. Ali Ve'er, Abby, rise up and let your Torah be heard. Rachel Cole Feingold. The fact that you flew in this morning with a 2-week-old beautiful baby girl, Hadar, she's not even yet 2 weeks, it may be illegal for her to fly, is perhaps all I need to say about your commitment to this institution. Mazel tov to you, to Avi, Kineret, and Nadiva. I was honored to see you in action in your pulpit in Chicago less than a year ago. Your ability to connect with people from all walks of life is inspiring. You often quipped that you were getting the training for the job you already had. There is real truth to that, and we appreciated having someone in Shir who was working in the pulpit to remind us what was going on in the real world. Your experience with the mikvah and building a community around one of the most beautiful and occasionally most challenging parts of Jewish religious life is truly inspiring. You are able to bring people to the wells of Torah and allow them to find their connection. I am certain that the Shar community will flourish even more as a result of your presence. Ali Ve'er, Rachel, rise up and let your Torah be heard. Look around this room. We're sitting with nearly 500 people, countless online from all over the world, Israel, Poland, Canada. I invite you to take a moment, feel the presence of the Shekhinah that is in the room right now, to feel the support of a community of Orthodox Jews whose vision of inclusion and openness brings hope to all of us about the future, to feel the joy, the warmth, and the love pulsating through this room. To give you some insight into the story of Yeshivat Maharat, we have prepared a video with the expert help of Elena Lefkowitz. Take a deep breath, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Yeshivat Maharat was founded in 2009 after I was ordained by Rabbi Weiss and Rabbi Sperber, and people came up to me and said, where do I sign up? How do I pursue this career path? And so Rabbi Weiss and I took out an ad in the Jewish Week announcing the opening of Yeshivat Maharat. And to our surprise, we received 35 applicants in that first year. And so we opened our doors in September 2009 with 3 women. And 4 years later, we are about to graduate those 3 women, and it's really exciting.
The story of Yeshivat Maharat begins with Sarah Schneier and the Chafetz Chaim in the early 1900s, and the founding of the Beis Yaakov school system, which in its day was an extraordinarily controversial decision. And it's on the shoulders of the giants like the Chafetz Chaim that we stand. There have been women throughout history, typically women who were either the daughters of or the wives of great rabbis. In Rashi's family, there are good examples of women who took on serious scholarship. There was a woman by the name of the Maiden of Ludmir who became a Hasidic Rebbe.
Maharat Osnat in the 16th century, her father on his deathbed made her promise that she would take over as the Rosh Yeshiva of his yeshiva in Kurdistan. Ray Frank, who in the late 1800s was the first woman to give a sermon on the High Holy Days. Regina Jonas was the first female rabbi in Germany.
There are women who stepped up into positions of leadership when there was a real need. And in a certain sense, what we're doing today is stepping into that role because the community really feels that need as well.
Women in positions of leadership in the Orthodox community are necessary because they are half of the community and they have talent and they can serve if they want to serve. If they see service to the community as their calling, they shouldn't be denied that service.
There is no halachic barrier that would prevent women from becoming spiritual leaders within synagogue, whatever the title.
Yeshivat Maharat trains its women to become as knowledgeable as the young men who are studying in other yeshivot, training for the rabbinate.
The curriculum includes studies of the Talmud, studies of the most central portions of Shulchan Aruch, including Isu Veheter, the laws of Kashrut, the laws of Shabbat, the laws of Nida, the laws of Avilut, the laws of Bet Knesset, the laws of Tefillah. It goes on and on, fundamentally the same as the curriculum that one studies for in any Orthodox ordination program. There is no difference.
My father is an Orthodox rabbi, and so I grew up watching the rabbinate modeled before me. And some folks would joke with me, oh, when you grow up, do you want to be a rabbi like your father is? And I always just assumed that they were kidding because we were Orthodox and I knew that that was not an option for me. I found myself graduating Barnard, not really having a clear sense of what I wanted to do, but finding myself drawn to pursuing my Jewish education at Drisha. And once I was at Drisha, I found myself drawn to participating in programs designed for rabbinical students. And then as I started to realize that this is what a life that I was made for, Yeshivat Maharat was created. And I feel very grateful that I was then able to join the first class.
I live in Montreal and I'm married to a congregational rabbi, and I didn't realize what that would mean for me or for my family. I am a Jewish educator. I was teaching Tanakh. That was my passion. Suddenly I was thrust into this bigger role, almost like a first lady. I was married into this role of being a Jewish leader. I wanted to earn the right to be that leader, and I wanted to feel that when people came to me with questions that I was really able to answer them and not just say, oh, go ask my husband.
I grew up in a very mainstream Orthodox community in Brooklyn, and I never felt any limitations. In fact, if anything, I felt like I could do anything. The first time I ever felt any tension in terms of female roles in the Orthodox community was after I had spent 3 years studying the Drisha Scholar Circle, and my twin brother had spent those years in Semikha at YU. And for much of that time, our curriculum was overlapping, and at the end of those years, he got Semikha. And I didn't. And it just suddenly felt strange because, this is my twin brother. We've gone through life together. We literally grew up side by side from the start, and were we really that different?
The decision to join the first class of Yeshivat Maharat was not such an easy one. I was very aware of the risks, both professionally and in my personal life, but it was what I was drawn towards, and it felt totally right. There were plenty of people who tried to discourage me, saying, are you sure you want to do this? You really want to be the first? It's a risk.
I think all of us students at Maharat come to this with a real sincerity and with a tmimiyut of sorts, an innocence of wanting to just do right.
For me to do this program, the main reason was for my children. We have 4 daughters, and for them to grow up in a world where they could see that this is possible, that there would really be nothing in their way, both in the secular world as well as a Jewish Orthodox world.
Having ordination conveys to folks that we are truly members of the clergy. And I've heard from many people that it's a title that is what's necessary. And of course I'm not doing this for the title, but I do think it's really important that Yeshivat Maharat is openly committed to bestowing upon us a title that adequately recognizes all that work that we have done and the work that we are prepared to do.
I cannot let this moment go by without announcing officially that all 3 members of our inaugural graduating class have been hired and will be serving as clergy in modern Orthodox synagogues and educational institutions. Rachel Kolb-Feingold will be joining Rabbi Adam Shire at Congregation Shar Shamayim in Montreal as the Director of Education and Spiritual Enrichment. Ruth Belinsky-Friedman will be joining the clerical staff led by Rabbi Shmuel Herzfeld at Ohev Shalom, the National Synagogue in Washington, D.C. Abby Brown-Shire will be director of the Noam School in Montreal and an educator of adults and children in the larger Montreal community. In addition, Rory Picker-Nice will be completing her 4th year of Yeshivat Maharat while serving as clergy at Beis Abraham Congregation in St. Louis with Rabbi Chaim Schaffner. At the same time, Victoria Sutton, another member of our 4th year class, will be working as the Hartman Institute's Synagogue Initiative Rabbinic Fellow while she completes her training. We would also be remiss if we did not acknowledge the ongoing work of our 3rd year student, Miriam Gansharska, Miriam, on behalf of the Warsaw Jewish community. It is now my great honor to invite Rabbi Daniel Sperber, Rabbi Avi Weiss, and Rabbi Sarah Hurwitz to the stage. Rabbi Weiss will now address the graduates.
Chalom, chalamnu. Chalom, chalamnu. It's not always that dreams are fulfilled in one's lifetime. But here we are. Our hearts are filled with overflowing joy as we experience this moment. We offer gratitude to God. Ze hayom asa Adonai nagila v'nismecha vo me'et Adonai hayta zot hi niflat be'einenu. This is the Lord's doing. It is wondrous in our eyes. We offer appreciation to the many people who brought us to this day. Our dear Rabbi Sarah Horowitz, a true hero who has carried herself with dignity and led brilliantly. Our beloved Rosh HaYeshiva, Rabbi Jeffrey Fax, the great Talmid Chacham, Rabbi Daniel Sperba, as well as someone who means the world to me, a soul sister, Blue Greenberg, who dreamt this dream decades ago. Thank you, Blue. Thank you, Rav Yitz. And the Orthodox rabbis and congregations that have welcomed women as synagogue religious leaders. Acharonot, acharonot, chavivot. We feel tremendous pride in our students at Yeshivat Maharat. And of course, our first graduates, Ruth, Abby, and Rachel. I've been deeply moved and inspired by each of you. I pray you feel the support, the excitement, the profound respect, and endless good wishes of this overwhelming crowd. I know I speak for everyone when saying to you, Me'omek libi, no, Me'omek libenu, from the depths of our hearts. Toda, Toda, Toda Rabba. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What is the significance of this day? On one level, this moment is but a concretization of what has been occurring, especially in recent years. Women learning on the highest levels at institutions like Nishmat, Midreshet Lindenbaum, Drisha, and Stern College, and women spiritually serving our community as religious leaders in some of the preeminent synagogues in the country, like Congregation Kehilat Jeshurun, KJ, and Lincoln Square Synagogue, and soon at Base Abe in St. Louis, where Rory will be serving.
On another, we take a humble but important step forward. This is the first time women in Orthodoxy are institutionally granted ordination as clergy, the samchut of heter hora'ah larabim, the samchut, the ordination of heter hora'ah larabim, to be decisors of Jewish law and to be spiritual leaders. As an institutional ordination, you, our graduates, have paved the way for others to follow. Kol hakavod. Clearly, we've defined a need as synagogues and other institutions have engaged your spiritual service, and more are turning to us. Not only synagogues, but hillels and schools and national organizations seeking the voices of women in religious leadership. Ruth, Rachel, and Abby, we are living in the time when the words of the prophet Amos, the Navi Amos, are coming true. Hinei yamim ba'im ne'um Hashem. Behold, God says, the days are coming when people will be hungry. They'll be thirsty to hear the word of God. Lishmoa et divrei Hashem. Today, people everywhere are seeking meaning. They are searching for Torah. They are searching for God. What's needed are spiritual leaders, religious leaders, men and women who can light that fire and teach that message, reverberating throughout this space. As you receive your klaf, will be your response to this calling, the proverbial hineni. Here am I, ready to serve, ready to act, ready to do, ready to commit myself to the Jewish people and the larger world. As you proclaim hineni, all assembled here and beyond sing out Hashmi'ini, the words from Shir Hashirim. Hashmi'ini et kolech. Let us listen to your voice as your congregants, Rachel, have joyously declared in Chicago, and soon at Congregation Shar HaShamayim, one of the largest synagogues in North America. L'chilach b'hatzlacha. Ki kolech orev, for your voice as a decisive of halacha, as a poseket, as a teacher of Torah, is sweet, as your constituents, Abby, have and will continue to acclaim. L'chilach hatzlacha rabah umarich naveh, and your presence as a communal leader, as an empathetic listener, is pleasing, as evident, Ruth, in your Avodat HaKodesh in Riverdale, at the Bayit, and soon in Washington, D.C., at the National Synagogue Congregation Ohev Shalom. This is a moment of Kiddusha, a moment of real holiness. It's that moment of granting samchut, ordination. In the spirit of Ein Kiddusha B'li Hachana, there is no holiness without preparation. Let us join in our tefillah for our graduates, for Ruth, for Abby, for Rachel. We offer the tefillah that you and your families know health, life, and fulfillment. We offer the tefillah that you receive God's light and emanate that light to others, as the psalmist says, Be'orcha nireh or. We offer the tefillah that you forever hear the soulful and songful blessing of Hashme'ini Na. Let's join together. Dirirai, dirirai, rai, darai, rai, dai, dai, rai, 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 darai, rai, lai, dirirai, rai, hai, rai, 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 dirirai, rai, hai, rai, hai, hashmi'ini et kolech ki kol arev umarech na vehashmi'ini et kolech ki kol lecharev umarech na vetiriralai tirirai rai 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 hai hai la lai rai hai rai rai hai rai 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 hai tirai rai rai hai rai tiriralai la lai rai hai rai 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 hai rai 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 hai rai 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 hai rai rai tiri rai 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 hashmi'ini et kolech ki kolech aref umarech naveh da 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 la 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 da da la tira la la tira la 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 hi la 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 hi la la hi la 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 hi la 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 see Mantovu Mazel Tov Yehelanu Lecho Yisrael Siman Tov O Mazel Tov Hashmi'ini et kolech.
Rachel Cole Feingold. Please rise. Achatenu at hayi la'alfei revava.
Rachel Cole Feingold. From Rachel, Leah, Bat Chaya Freda, V'harav Shmuel HaKohen, has been found worthy and granted authority to teach and determine halachic rulings for the Jewish people, and has been ordained as a spiritual leader and decisor of Jewish law. Nimtze'a ru'uya lihiyot manhiga ruchanit ulahorot halacha b'Yisrael v'husmecha behete hora'ah birabim.
מי יודע אם לעת כזאת הגעת למלכות. This was Mordechai's encouragement to Esther to step up, to act boldly on behalf of her people. It is also the phrase that happens to appear on the invitation for today's event. Maybe it was all for this moment that you were put here. Mi yodea. Who knows? When you were taken to the palace of Achashverosh, says Mordechai, who could have predicted that you would find yourself in this position, uniquely suited to carry out an important task on behalf of the entire Jewish nation? Mi yodea. Maybe this was in the cards all along. La'et kazot higat lamalchut. How can you back down, Esther? Own your destiny, take your place among the leaders of the Jewish people. Esther knows it will not be an easy task. There will be risks involved. But Esther rises to the occasion. Each of us at Yeshivat Maharat, the students, the faculty, the board, the supporters, each of us has somehow been led la'et kazot, to this moment. It wasn't always clear how we would get here. It has been a winding road and sometimes a bumpy one. I, for one, certainly did not set out knowing that this would be my path. And yet here I am. Here we all are. And more than that, im hacharesh tacharishi ba'et hazot, revach v'hatzala ya'amod la'yehudim mimakom acher. If you are silent, if you shy away from the task at hand, from the role that you are destined to play, then this salvation, this sea change will still come. It will happen with or without you. This moment carries an inevitability. It had to happen. It had to happen because there were Devorah and Bruria and Glickle of Hamlin and the Maiden of Ludmir. It had to happen because there were women who studied Torah in Rabbi David Silver's living room in 1979. And it had to happen because I heard Blue Greenberg speak at the very first Jofa conference when I was 17 years old. This moment in history was going to happen with or without me, because I stand on the shoulders of the women who first cracked open a Gemara, who delved into the texts of our tradition despite the fact that they were lone voices. Mi yodea, little did we know, little did they know. And how blessed I feel that it has happened with me, with all of us here today. How lucky I have been to find myself in the midst of Eit Kazot, this moment in history.
So today, I pay tribute to those who came before me. Our entire community is indebted to them. I also give thanks to those who have had the courage to step up, to recognize the imperative of Eit Kazot. Rabbi Avi Weiss, who put his name and his reputation on the line for this cause, as well as so many others, because he feels compelled to do what is right. Bamakom she'ein anashim, when no one else was willing to step up and make it happen, he stuck out his neck for Yeshivat Maharat and for women's spiritual leadership. Thank you. To Rabbah Sarah Hurwitz, who leads by example and who shows us all what it means to bring a uniquely feminine voice to religious leadership. You are an inspiration, and I don't know where you find the energy. To Rabbi Jeff Fox, whose brilliant Torah scholarship is matched only by his compassion and sensitivity. Thank you for teaching us what it means to be a posek and a rebbe. To my family for all your support. To my mom for being a strong female role model and for being the self-appointed president of my personal fan club. And to my dad and stepmom for being models of open-mindedness and for always forwarding me interesting divrei Torah. As Orthodox women's religious leadership emerges, there is a group of unsung heroes. They are the men who not only step aside to make space for women, but who are vocal advocates for this important shift in the landscape of our community. These are the male allies, without whom women's advancement would not be possible. I am grateful to Rabbi Asher Lopatin for bringing me into a clergy role at Anshe Shalom 6 years ago. And encouraging me to own that role time and time again over the past 6 years. And to Rabbi Adam Shire, who has already shown himself to be a vocal advocate for me, as well as a friend, as he welcomes me to the clergy team at Shar Shamayim. And lastly, to my husband, Avi, I rarely acknowledge the sacrifices that you have made for me and my career and for our family. I'm grateful to you for keeping me honest with myself and for being an incredible support in every way, and for always being a great help with my wardrobe difficulties, and for not thinking it was crazy to travel here today with our 2-week-old. Everything that I am is yours too. Thank you. Mazal Tov to my fellow graduates. Thank you all for being here to share this moment with us. Mazal Tov.
Ruth Belinsky-Friedman, please rise. Achatenu at hayil alfei revava.
Ruth Belinsky-Friedman, Ruth Nemera, Bat Dvora, Zichrona Livracha, Varav Moshe Umeira, Hamagadla, has been found worthy and granted authority to teach and determine halachic rulings for the Jewish people, and has been ordained as a spiritual leader and a decisor of Jewish law. נמצאה ראויה להיות מנהיגה רוחנית ולהורות הלכה בישראל, והוסמכה בהתר הוראה לרבים.
been thinking about today, the day of my graduation, for 4 years. For the first 3 years, I was fairly certain that today would not actually come. It seemed far too surreal to possibly be true. It was only over this past year, my 4th and final year at Yeshivat Maharat, that I started to understand that I was actually going to graduate. On June 16th, 2013, I would become a Maharat. As I stand here today, I can't help but think of one of my favorite Jewish texts, a commentary from the Chizkuni on Shmot 19:17. In this chapter of Exodus, the Israelites receive the Torah in the desert after they have fled Egypt. The build-up to this moment is incredibly intense and conveys the seriousness of what is about to happen. Verse 17 describes the morning of Matan Torah. There is thunder and lightning and loud shofar blasts. And how do the Israelites respond? Vayecherad kol ha'am, the whole nation trembled. One could assume that they trembled out of fear, that they were terrified by the situation. But, the Chizkuni tells us, this trembling was not an expression of trepidation. It was an explosion of anticipatory excitement. The Israelites were eager. They heard these loud noises and jumped out of bed, ready to receive God's commandments upon themselves. In some ways, I see today as my own Matan Torah. It is a moment that I have been building towards for a long time. It is a moment that brings with it a major shift in my life and a transformation in my identity. No, there is no thunder and lightning, but there are cameras. And, thank God, hundreds of faces in the crowd. It is a moment that many could see as intimidating, overwhelming, and perhaps terrifying. And I have to admit, 4 years ago, when I started at Yeshivat Maharat, I was a bit afraid. I did not know what the future would hold. But today, as I stand before all of you, I am no longer afraid. Instead, like the Israelites, I am excited and eager to embrace what comes next. I know that I would never be able to be here without the support of so many wonderful people in my life. I have spent the past few months making lists in my head of everyone I need to thank today so that I would not forget anyone. I feel so blessed to say that this list is too long to be read. So I make only a few mentions, but know that you are all in my heart. To Rabbi Fox, Rabbi Sarah, Rabbi Weiss, and Rabbi Sperber, you have all dedicated so much of yourselves to do something you really believed in. Thank you. To Rabbi Shmuel Hertzfeld for inviting me so warmly to join the Ohev Shalom community. And to Mrs. Zelda Stern for her vision of women's synagogue leadership and her generous support of my position. To my fellow students, it has been such a pleasure to learn, laugh, and order lunch with you. We take that seriously. To the women who came before and paved the path for me to stand here today. Many of you are here in this room. Thank you. And I would also like to thank my family. They have all been so supportive and giving to me, and I feel so blessed to have you all here with me today. Thank you for traveling from near and far to join me. And to my husband, Yoni, the first thing I ever said to you was that I was a student at Yeshivat Maharat, and you have been on this journey with me ever since. I really mean it when I say that I could not have done it without your love, patience, and hours spent helping me practice my drashas. I love you. Thank you to everyone for sharing in our celebration today.
Abby Brown Shire, please rise. Achotenu at Hayila Alfei Ravava.
Abby Brown Shire. Chaya Avigail, Bat Zipporah Ruth, Zichronali Livracha, Veharav Moshe Gavriel, has been found worthy and granted authority to teach and determine halachic rulings for the Jewish people, and has been ordained as a spiritual leader and a decizer of Jewish law. Nimtza'a ru'uya lihiot manhiga ruchanit ulahorot halacha b'Yisrael v'husmecha beheter hora'a larabim.
Oto Hayom, the Talmud in Brachot teaches us that on that very day, on that day of change and growth, Nitna lahem reshut latalmidim lehikanes. Permission was granted for all students to enter. The Beit Midrash was finally open for all the students who wanted to enter. Not only in the Talmud, but also today. 4 years ago, Rabbi Sarah Hurwitz and Rabbi Avi Weiss opened the doors of Yeshivat Maharat. Hahu Yoma. On that day, the Talmud continues, they had to add benches. And there's a discussion. Was it 400 benches? Was it 700 benches? It feels a lot like today. Will we have enough seats for everyone who wants to be here to support the vision of Yeshivat Maharat? And on that day that Yeshivat Maharat opened, the benches had to be added for us. And since we've added more benches, more rows, more seats to include the amazing women who want to learn and lead the Jewish community. I believe that it is through opening the doors and granting access to those who want in that is exactly what helps us to grow and to lead. It is through learning and access to our texts and traditions that we have more meaningful lives and that hopefully we are inspired to be better people in our families, our communities, and the world. The doors of the Yeshivat Maharat Beit Midrash open to let us in. Here we've been trained in the classic rabbinic text to be confident leaders with the knowledge that we do in fact have a place in the spiritual leadership of Orthodox Judaism. The joy and the excitement of this moment is that of finally entering a place of wisdom and vision, a place we have eagerly waited our turn to access. Thank you to Rabbi Sarah Hurwitz and to Rabbi Weiss and Rabbi Sperber for granting us permission to study in the Beit Midrash of Rabbinic Law. Thank you to Rabbi Fox and all of our teachers for teaching us to be better people through study. Thank you to our fellow students who have enriched that study. Thank you to my incredible community in Montreal and to my precious students. You have given me so many opportunities to share Torah with you and to be involved in meaningful ways in your lives. Finally, I need to thank those that made me want to enter those doors of study to begin with. My mother and father brought me up in a home with open doors. My mother taught me that there was always room at the table and that everyone has something to teach us, and that every text, poem, book, even a recipe can move us to act and to teach others. My father taught us that one could never have enough Jewish books on the shelves, but these books needed to be opened to learn tefillah, to learn the prayers, to learn the stories, to learn history, open to both traditional and academic texts, all of which help shape our lives. And who knew that knowing the history of Jews in French Canada would, in fact, be so practical? This was one of his early academic interests, and sure enough, Adam and I have made our home at Shar Shamayim in Montreal. And there's clearly more to the story, as Quebec is now in the forefront of Orthodox women's spiritual leadership. And of course, to Adam, who has shown me an open heart and has proved to have quite an open mind. We met 10 years ago today, just a few blocks from here, and who would have known that we would be here today? Adam has provided me a front row seat to the rabbinate. I have seen just how much of a positive impact a person, a leader, can have on a people and a community with your kind and thoughtful ways. And while walking the streets of Jerusalem on a beautiful summer day 4 years ago, it was Adam who suggested that I consider studying at Yeshivat Maharat. He has not just been supportive, he has become a leader in this endeavor. Adam, thank you for providing such an incredible journey over the last 10 years. Thank you for your patience, editing, and ability to make life exciting. Thank you for critiquing when necessary and championing when needed. We share so many passions, like Torah, football, and of course food. I cook, you eat. Our paths are often intertwined, and we do many things together, but our best work, is definitely our A-team, our 4 beautiful daughters, Avia, Ayelet, Anael, and Allegra. We have been blessed with a loving family and with loving friends, many of whom are here today. We have been blessed with so many impactful and inspiring teachers and so many incredible students. Together, Adam and I have taken all of these open doors, and we try in our own way to make our Jewish lives and those in our community accessible, interesting, passionate, and meaningful. Thank you.
Ruth, Rachel, Abby. These documents constitute a testimony to your abilities, your learning, and your commitment. But they're only a first step. They contain in them a moral imperative to continue to study, to deepen your knowledge, and never to waver in your commitment. They're a first step, but they're also a historic step, a pioneering one, and even a heroic one. Hopefully they are beginning of a process of progressive development, and you are the trailblazers. You are the torchbearers, lighting the way for those who will follow in your footsteps. Be worthy of them so that they may be worthy of you. Alu v'atzlichu. I'd like to add a personal note. I feel very deeply privileged to have been given the opportunity to have even a small part in this remarkable process and in this very, very special event. It took many, many years for the Orthodox community, or at least for a small part of the Orthodox community, to mature sufficiently to lead us to this moment. It's a moment which we must acknowledge our thanks to God for helping us to achieve this. And therefore it's only right and proper that we make a blessing of Shehachianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachianu v'kiyamanu v'hikiyanu l'zman hazeh.
all rise and join together.
Lichvad, Yeshivat Maharat's board, advisory board, beloved faculty, students, supporters, and graduates. Today is an historic day. Until now, women have had to forge their own paths towards spiritual leadership. And there have indeed been unique and talented women throughout the ages who have studied and led, in whose footsteps you walk. But Ruth, Rachel, and Abby, my cherished Talmidot and sisters, Achatenu at hayila alfei revava. Today, as you crossed that threshold and accepted your ordination, we begin to become a multitude. This is the beginning of a new reality. From today, Chet B'Tammuz 5773, this is what the Orthodox community now looks like, with men and women standing side by side, leading and shaping the Jewish community. And this room is made up of the visionaries, the risk takers, the believers and the supporters at every level of what we are celebrating today. Everyone should feel proud of the role they have played in getting us today. While we are here to celebrate 3 spectacular women, we are also celebrating a wonderful milestone in the growth and evolution of our community. Ruth, Rachel, and Abby, I am filled with awe and wonder at your achievements. You have each walked a long road to arrive at this moment. I offer you the following blessing. In Sefer Zechariah, an angel of God gives Yehoshua, the high priest, a charge. Ka amar Hashem tzavakot, so said the Lord of hosts, if you walk in my path and keep my charge, what will be your reward? V'natati lacha malchim bein ha'omdim ha'eleh. I will permit you to walk amongst the omdim, those who stand still. 4 years ago, you had the courage to be the first to walk in God's path and join Yeshivat Maharat's inaugural class. And for the past 4 years, you have studied and immersed yourselves in God's Torah, mastered halacha, and honed your pastoral skills. You interned in shuls on college campuses, and you taught adults and children. You have chosen to walk in God's way, and you have kept God's charge. And now you have been granted ordination, and with it the tremendous privilege and responsibility of walking amongst the people, Malchim bein ha'omdim. The phrase Malchim bein ha'omdim paints a vivid picture, a vivid image of people who are walkers and those who stand still. At Yeshivat Maharat, we have emphasized the ethic of walking. We have given you the tools to learn how to be malchot. You have learned to keep moving boldly forward from your teachers who model marching towards justice and morality, who have walked by your side. But there is a certain wisdom that the Omdim offer as well. Halacha, walking, is dependent upon the ability to know when to stand still. We cannot appreciate how far we come until we stop in humble self-reflection. In our own lives, we stop 3 times a day and stand with our feet together to say the Amidah, the standing prayer. We nourish our spiritual selves so that we can once again merit to journey forward. And as we take 3 steps backwards and 3 steps forwards, we do so slightly bent over and then stand in reflective humility. It is at these moments of anava, of humility, that we must give kavod to the Torah giants who came before us, to the men and women, many of whom are here today, who have dug the trenches, showed us the path, and paved the road, who have known when to walk and when to stand still, so that we could continue their journey. But as you walk, there will be times when you will encounter omdim who are stagnant, who stand still and block your way forward. And there will be times when you will become frozen, unable to move forward. At those times, I ask you to keep walking boldly and humbly forward. And I've seen firsthand your fortitude to take those first courageous steps forward towards your dreams of leading and serving the Jewish people. Ruth, you have found your path. You have a unique ability to connect with people through your honesty and openness. You use Jewish text and halacha to guide you and seamlessly integrate Torah with avodah, the service towards others. Rachel, you have been navigating this path for so many years already, teaching us from the field what lays ahead. You already guide and preach with such passion, yet you had the foresight to understand that ordination would be a necessary step towards helping you become the best spiritual guide possible. Abby, you too were already serving your community, but wanted to offer deeper pastoral and halachic guidance to your congregants. Your teaching attracts students, young and old, as you instill in them a love for Torah and learning that is so much in the fiber of your being. Today, you have accepted the responsibility of helping others walk towards greater spiritual heights, helping them become malchim. So I bless you, Ruth, Rachel, and Abby, that you will be malchot bein ha'omdim. May you keep walking, even if others remain stagnant or run too far afield. At those times, may you inspire others to join your journey and keep walking. With God as your guide, walk. Walk towards justice. Walk with integrity. Walk boldly with courage and pride. And walk humbly, remembering those who walked before you and honoring those who courageously walk with you. And as you walk, remember that you are not alone. Look around. Look at the expressions of joy and admiration and respect on the faces of the hundreds who have gathered here. And imagine the excitement of all those not yet here, for whom you now model a powerful path forward. Ruth, Rachel, and Abby, know that as you march forward, we, all of us, the entire community, walks with you. Mazal Tov.
And with that, we conclude our program. I want to thank you, Rabbi Sarah, for your inspiring words. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for your leadership and your vision. I believe I can speak on behalf of the whole board when I say that helping to make this dream, your dream, the dream of Rabbi Weiss, of the faculty of Yeshivat Maharat and its students, has been a reality, has been a privilege and an inspiration. I would like to thank my co-members of the board who have gotten together with me into this uncharted territory of developing this new and wondrous thing, and it's a privilege to be able to share this moment of fruition with you. And I'd like to thank all of the benefactors in this room who have joined us on this vision as well. We want to thank and acknowledge all members of the clergy, both men and women, who have joined us today and supported our mission with your presence. And we thank the families and friends of our graduates who have joined us from near and far. Your support of their lofty goals and our mission has helped to prove that Im Tirtzu, Ein Zo Agada. So now, please join us upstairs on the third floor terrace, where we certainly hope it is not raining, for a celebratory Su'udah in honor of our graduates. Mazal Tov.